Welcome to Webcomic Firstish, where I, the comic archivist, dip my toes into the water of webcomics by looking at the first 20 or so parts and talking about it, for both good and bad. Today we're looking at the romantic webcomic Super Secret by Eon. I'm going to preface literally everything in this that I am not a strictly romance reader. I've got some grand experience with romance in both personal life and on a review front, but I'm not the type of guy to solely read romance materials. It's not that I dislike them, but to me, romance is a facet of a story, not the driving point. With that said, it took me a little bit to get into this, but once I did, I found something worthy of coming back to. Really, my only gripe with Super Secret was that there's almost an easy disconnect between introduction of the characters and the first real story beats. Emma, the main gal, is a klutz who likes sleeping and food and comes off almost as a trope of a character rather than a character herself. The same can be said for Ryan, that's our main dog boy, who's a mother hen of a friend, but everyone else sees how much he really cares. Basically, the two leads at the very beginning of this were very been there, done that, but it does take the time to introduce them, instead of just assuming you already know these characters. So the basic premise is that Ryan and his family live next door to Emma, but surprise, Ryan and his family are actually monsters, like Ryan's a wolf, his sister's a fox or a witch, depending on which sister, and that sort of thing. It's a now standard concept, so taking the first episode to introduce the characters, that basically you can tell who they are on a first glance, kind of did bore me. But that is where I may have let my guard down for this book to actually grasp me, because it goes fairly quickly into Emma being set up on a blind date by her friend, and does go into the "do I like her" from Ryan quicker than I would have guessed, while showing that Emma is still naive and the way we generally been seeing her up to that point. I'd almost say that Emma is the weaker link in the early bits, with Ryan being the one who has to discover his feelings, while Emma is just oblivious to the world around her. Granted, I wouldn't know how to react to someone saying, "I knew you by how you smelled like dog," on a date either. And then it really ramps up to, okay, how will this play out when Emma's new beau turns out to be a pure-blood monster? Hey, it's revealed in the first 5 episodes, and there's like 91 as of this video, so it's not like I'm spoiling a huge reveal. When I came into this, I was very unsure on how my reaction would be. It didn't start well for me, but while I only reviewed the first 5 episodes or issues, Line Webtoon calls them episodes, so yeah, I can safely say that as of episode 20, this is a phenomenal read. The comedy is kind of your basic manga influence, as well as webcomics, so you'll have a lot of physical comedy, over-the-top violence for the manga side, but then you'll have quick little one-shots that almost feels like a slice of life thing. And all of that works very well, especially with that art style. And believe me, the art style is a chibi manga minimalist, if that makes any sense, that keeps it a quick sketch while aiming towards having moments where the art really can shine. Sort of an inverse of how basic manga cuts to chibi or simpler art to denote something. Maybe I am overanalyzing there, since it'd mean the mundanity of life is kinda simpler than those crazy emotions, but they're college kids, so the emotions can never lead to photorealism or anything super truly detailed. Either way, I really dig the artwork. So I guess my verdict on this one is that, as with most comics on Line Webtoon, you should definitely check it out, and I do want to say that webcomics like this are the reason that I love doing this show, and every other first show I do, like Manga Firstish and First Issues, because it puts me where I just can't leave a comic if it doesn't grab me in the first couple pages. I could have easily went through and saw how, not necessarily clumsy, but at least how ungripping the first episode was for me, and never have gotten into a story that I can really get behind and tell you at home that it is definitely worth reading. Does it show the complexity or intricacies that a relationship can have? Not necessarily, but it's still a fun, phenomenal read. Sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel to be entertaining. So go over to Line Webtoon and check this out, link is in the description. And that is all for me today. And if you agree that this is totally worth the time, or you disagree and say that it's pure my first insert story, then let me know in the comments below. Also down below, suggest a webcomic to check out, and who knows, maybe the next Webcomic Firstish won't take 9 months to get out, and it'll have your name in the beginning. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and please consider pledging to the Patreon to help support not only this show, but ComicSins, binging on comics, and Super Binge. But at the very least, subscribe. You two is being their usual Cull of the Week self. But above all else, stay golden, Inklings.